You kept pushing on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds. And when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me.
Welcome to the Lone Star State. Buckle up, race fans, because we're live from the heart of Texas at the legendary Texas Motor Speedway for an electrifying playoff showdown in the Racers Elite Cup Series. The air is thick with anticipation, the engines are roaring, and the drivers are ready to push their virtual machines to the limit in this iconic high-banked oval. Tonight, under the bright Texas sky, these digital gladiators will battle wheel to wheel, inch by inch, for glory, for pride, and for a chance at winning this season's championship trophy. We're talking about the best of the best in the sim racing world, all vying for the top step of the podium. It's time to feel the thunder of the engines, the rush of the wind, and the thrill of victory. So get ready for high-speed action, heart-stopping overtakes, and maybe even a little bit of Texas-sized drama. I'm Dave Regal, sitting high, wide, and handsome alongside my brother from another mother, Mr. Alan Bergen, and we'll be bringing you all the action, from the green flag to the checkered flag, right here on Sim Racing Media. And Alan, here we are together again. It's like Fozzie and Kermit sitting here in the broadcast booth.
Absolutely. It's been a blast. I'm glad to be back in the booth. Not totally on the racetrack here tonight, but, here we are.
We polled the drivers. They were fine with you not being on the racetrack.
They said it was an experience.
Oh, he is the Alan experience, and that's the only way that we can truly describe our man Alan Bergen. And believe you me, folks, we wouldn't get anything done at Sim Racing Media in case you had any worry that we get things done. But we wouldn't get it done without my man here down in St. Louis, Missouri. Of course, I'm coming to you live from the Tony Trapassa Memorial Broadcast booth just outside the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Qualifying underway here tonight as we're in race number 2 of the Racers Elite Nextgen Cup Series in the playoffs. And I'll tell you what, man, after that another dominating win for John Ross a couple of weeks ago, he just seems to be settling in for everything, and just coming home with that championship trophy. I mean, 8 total starts this season, 5 victories. That means only 3 times did he not wind up in victory lane, Alan.
Yeah, absolutely. As we are getting ready to go, 105 laps here, but a real quick look at the weather here. A 72-degree ambient night, 78% relative humidity, 13-mile-an-hour wind, and that track temperature mirrors 2 degrees warmer than the ambient temperature, so this track's got a lot of grip in it. Now, Andrew Tuft right now is looking to finish 1 spot better than he did last year, as the Tuft brothers went second, 2 and 3 in the finishing order last year.
Yeah, and you know what? The Tuft brothers, to me, are always something exciting to watch here on Racers Elite Cup Series action. Of course, you get to see them a couple nights a week between the Xfinity and the Truck Series. And for me, here on a Thursday night, it's always exciting to watch Alex and Andrew go at it. John Ross still sitting atop our points pile, just 10 points ahead of Brandon Honeycutt. And you have to remember, Honeycutt is the only other driver to bring home checkered flags this season. So those 2 drivers are really going to be duking it out here like a couple of kids in the back of the family station wagon as we get deeper into the night. Now, my man Diego Rodriguez, of course, you folks all know him from Sunday Night NASCAR Cup Series action. And, of course, also Tuesday Night NASCAR as he the Howdy Honey Buns Spirit Airlines F-150. He's only, 9 points behind Brandon Honeycutt. So, I mean, we're looking at a total of 19 points from down, from third to first. This is still anybody's championship to win.
Yeah, and as we saw last week, or last time we were here, John Ross is very beatable, and you can beat him. Now, I tell you what, Dennis Kane, though, he's looking to make it 2 for 2 here at Texas, as we were here back in Season 5, or Season 4 on June 19th. So these guys are going to be cranked up to crazy.
Well, and without a doubt, we're going to see a lot of, Texas two-step action here. Of course, drivers going to be, in these cars, all but 185, 188 miles per hour going into the turn, coming off that back straightaway. And the amount of speed that they're able to carry through the quad oval and take all of that momentum and throw it down into turn number 1. I'm expecting to see a lot of these guys maybe trying to stay away from that bottom white line and maybe be about a half a lane up. Because if you get too close to the bottom line here at Texas in turns 1 and 2, you can really loosen that race car on turn exit out of 2 and down the back chute. But about 30 seconds left in qualifying, and looks like so far John Ross continuing to set the pace here tonight as he has gone fast time at 29.74 seconds. Zach Lockett comes in at 29.76 and 29.79 for Diego Rodriguez. I mean, what a night we have here as we get ready to rock and roll at Texas Motor Speedway. Everything's bigger in Texas, especially the excitement. I mean, Alan, I don't know about you, but Texas holds a special place in my heart.
Only because, well, we're going Texas two-step in here. Not only that, but who's gonna hold the virtual handguns at the end and get to fire them up in the air?
Yeah, I'm curious to see that. Let's go on down here to the field as now we start to see drivers crawling into the race cars. Check out the Domino's number 21 Ford Mustang of Diego Rodriguez. He's supposed to be in the 20. Not sure why that is, but it is. Brendan Wilcox here in the 26. Lee Campbell in the 60. And here's our pole sitter in the 44 Sim Motion Ford Dark Horse Mustang, John Ross. He's going to be on the front row, joined by Zach Lockett. Row number 2 going to feature going to feature Diego Rodriguez and Kensley Smith, while Bill Skinner and Brandon Honeycutt going to sit in row number 3. Row 4 is Truth Hoke and Brendan Wilcox, while Lee Campbell and Andrew Teft round out your starting top 10. Dennis Kane going to be on the inside of row number 6, while we look back to row number 7 and find Aaron Marquis and Curtis Ecker in the 19, going to be in row number 7 on the outside. Leroy Koblenz in the 42 to the inside of row number 8 with Kirby Wainscott, his row mate, in the number 10, as Colonel Kirby Wainscott has changed from that 10 machine with the finger-licking good Colonel on the side of it. He has decided to be more, league-centric here with a gorgeous paint scheme, that chrome number 10 on the side there of, wow, my goodness, that's just that good-looking, but of that Toyota Camry. Alex Teft and Troy Thomas going to be in row number 9, and starting shotgun on the field tonight, Rob Yost in the number 83 Red Bull Toyota Camry. So 19 drivers scheduled to take the green flag tonight for 105 laps. What are the details there, and how many tire sets are they going to have tonight, Alan?
The great thing that you had asked, because let me do this.
I knew I was going to ask you something too soon.
They're going to get 5 sets of tires in the pit, 65% fuel. And I don't know about you, but I am more than ready.
Seeing that number 8 Bud car gets me excited to be here in Texas. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
The only time you can stomach Budweiser.
The only time I could stomach Budweiser was when Dale Earnhardt Jr. was piloting that Chevrolet Camaro. Oh, my God. Actually, back then it was the Lumina. The very end of the Lumina. As we get ready to roll here tonight, the iRacing.com pace car lights are out. I've been waiting a couple weeks, man. I mean, I'm getting a little itchy here in the seat. I know these guys in the cockpits are getting ready. Everybody's got to check those gloves one more time. Get those hands up nice and high on those steering wheels. The iRacing.com pace car coming through turn 4 at the No Limits Texas Motor Speedway as he makes the hard left turn down pit road. The only thing that's left to do is it's time to wipe the visor and adjust the 5-point harness. Grandma, grab that dry rub barbecue and settle in. Race fans, it's show time! John Ross stepping away from the field already by 0.2 of a second, leading Diego Rodriguez in the 21 as they haul it into turn number 3. A lot of drivers going single file already as we get that, there it is. That timing tower here on the left-hand side of your screen, folks. I want to thank everybody for tuning in.
Yeah, now we're 2x2.
2x2. I didn't know we were ready to go drag racing, but take a look at Brandon Honeycutt here as we look deeper into the field. He works to the inside of the 4 car. That's Dennis Kane. Now Dennis Kane, I'm sorry, that's the 41 of Aaron Marquis in the DeWalt machine. He looks to the inside of Dennis Kane. And Kane holding that high line, the Zupan Ford Mustang, as John Ross lays down fast time at 29.96. In fact, your top 7 cars, the entire field now, has laid down their fastest laps of the evening so far. So tire temperature starting to come up a little bit here as we slide back. There's, whoa, 3 wide action. Take a look at the 42 of Leroy Koblenz. He's just ahead of the 78 of Richard Ode. And now Ode goes to the low side of Brendan Wilcox in the 26. They go door handle to door handle coming through the quad oval just ahead of Andrew Teft in the 98.
Yeah, Andrew Teft there being patient like a lion in the weeds. Just waiting to pounce. Trying not to make an egregious move right off the bat as we're only 4 laps into this 105 lap affair. So these guys have to be patient and kind of wait on them tires to get fully warmed up. And this is going to take about 5 more laps maybe.
Yeah, once those tires really start to rubber in, they get real sticky and real gooey here on the asphalt. And you know, under the lights here at night where it's a little bit cooler on the racing surface, that can take 5 or 6 laps to get in on there. And here comes Andrew Teff to the inside of the 26 of the HendrickCars.com Chevrolet. And Teff just slides around Wilcox with what seems like relative ease, and now puts his sights on the 78 of Richard Ode. A lot of battles going on the racetrack tonight so far. Not a whole lot of real estate as we look down here at the 8 of Skinner. And Bill Skinner right now about to be under assault from Truth Hoke in the double nickel.
Yeah, here comes Truth Hoke looking to the inside with that ruby red Wrangler number 55. Looking to the inside of that Budweiser number 8, and he down the back straight or down the front straightaway. He's going to think better of it.
Yeah, it's the wrong Earnhardt. He's not ready to try to make a pass on the grass here at Texas, as he now tries to look to the inside of the Budweiser machine. And maybe he's going to catch a little bit of side draft off that left rear quarter panel of the 8 of Skinner, and Skinner trying desperately to hold him off. As we now look here in turns 3 and 4, it's getting a little hairy, but I think they're going to just kind of have to, hang on for dear life for the time being.
Yeah, hang on for sure. As we are 8 laps in, 7 laps in the history books, Truth Hoke still keeping William Skinner in the sights as we're looking back here around the area. Troy Thomas and Rob Yost Jr. Rob Yost Jr. picking up his first win last night in the Racers Lead Xfinity Series. Want to highlight that just for a moment.
You know what? It's always exciting when you get to see somebody, who's been running all 3 series or 2 out of 3 series, however it works out, to pick up that first win. I know that we had kind of an epic moment earlier this year when Kavaja Holt picked up his first Xfinity Series win in the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series. I mean, these drivers that put the time in these series, sometimes for years like Kavaja or yet Rob Yost for multiple seasons and years here in the Racers Elite Series, it's always exciting when you get to see them, for lack of a better term, get their comeuppance. And, Yost, a driver here out of Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, representing the 717 for us here in the Keystone State. I mean, he's one of those drivers that week in and week out we see him trying to put the work in. And as the doctor says on the Fat People Show, you got to do the work.
You got to do the work. You got to put the work in. And that's what it takes to make it in this series. These guys are no slouches, if you will. We're on board with the 26 of Brendan Wilcox. One of those guys that are definitely in the playoffs. And he's a front runner every week. He's always contending for that race win, if you will.
Well, as we watch him working just behind the 13 of Brandon Honeycutt, neither of these drivers is really going to try to give anything up right now, as Wilcox in the 26 seems to have fallen like a stone. So has Honeycutt. And something, makes my eyebrows go up just a little bit here, especially when I see somebody like Honeycutt this deep in the field, especially in the early goings of a race. What's he doing? What's he thinking? Because I love to watch some of the strategies that these guys use. I mean, we've seen it from the Teft brothers. We've seen Andrew Teft absolutely light things on fire, because he is one of those that can squeeze every drop of fuel out of the cell before having to come down. And I see a lot of that from these guys because, Alan, forgive me if I'm wrong. I know I'm not, though. This is one of the safest and cleanest leagues on iRacing servers.
Yeah, these guys definitely take pride in their safety rating and their safetiness. So, but here's the thing: you could put these guys in any other league, and they'll run good. Zach Lockett, is one of those drivers. He races in multiple different leagues across the service. So, with that being said, Rob Yost Jr., he's another one of those drivers picking up. He's been there, knocking on the door, and he finally breaks through last night.
14 laps in the books here as we take a look at our leader, John Ross. He's already starting to gap everybody, as he seems to do every week, by 0.6 of a second out of Bell Buckle, Tennessee. If that does not sound like a southern town, I don't know what does. Bell Buckle, Tennessee. Is the sheriff also the fire chief and the postmaster?
It could have been.
I don't want to get too far off topic, but I do have to look up Bell Buckle, Tennessee. I'm curious about this town. Maybe the new summer home for the Regal clan.
Well, while you're looking that up, just some stats back on Brandon Honeycutt here. As Brandon Honeycutt has 8 starts here at Texas, and his average start was a 12th, and his average finish was 10th. Now, his last start here in Texas, coming on September 16, 2024 in the truck, he finished 10th. His last Nextgen start was July 27th of 2024, and he finished 4th.
I don't think I'll be going to visit Bell Buckle, Tennessee, by the way. Our man John Ross is one of 410 folks in Bell Buckle, Tennessee. So I would be reasonably sure that, yes, the sheriff is the fire chief and the postmaster. We take a peek back here at Kensley Smith. Watch him starting to creep up on the rear bumper of Truth Hoke. Now, Truth Hoke in the 55, you can't help but wonder what goes through his mind as he looks out the rearview mirror. And he sees nothing but Kensley Smith back here. We know Kensley Smith can wear you out as a driver. We know that he's one of those guys that he'll match you step for step and wait for you to flinch that wrist just a little too hard, or maybe, lift just a little bit too early, and he will nose that Chevrolet right underneath you. But for now, Hickory, North Carolina's Truth Hoke holding on to 4th position behind Zach Lockett, and about a second between those two. So a lot of gaps starting to form here as we look a little further back. And speaking of the Teft brothers, we talked about Andrew a moment ago. Here's Alex Teft just behind. Whoa. In a battle right now with the 26 of Brendan Wilcox.
Brendan Wilcox is working underneath. Alex Teft looking to the outside, but not far behind him is Troy Thomas in that number 3 car. And, breaking news in the garage area, him and myself are switching back to Toyotas next season.
You think that's your problem, Alan?
I mean,
you think manufacturer is your problem?
Sometimes a little change can bring a little luck. Yeah,
that's what they tell me at the Salvation Army bucket. A little change can bring a little happiness. As I walk by and ignore them.
I walk right past them.
Oh, I'm sure you do. Kensley Smith here leading Lee Campbell by about 0.3 of a second. Let's go on board with Campbell. And we're 21 laps in the books right now, 85 to go. And I'm telling you right now, as we start to see Lee Campbell try to edge in here on William Skinner, they are truly matching one another step for step. Neither one of these drivers is gapping the other. They're not doing that accordion thing where maybe one, whoa, just kidding. All of a sudden, Skinner gets loose. That opens the door for Campbell to close a lot of gap, and now it just went from 0.3 of a second to less than 2.
Yikes.
Yee. Sorry for putting you on camera. Want to take a look here at the youtube.com live chat. Want to thank everybody for tuning in and welcoming us into your homes, onto your phones, wherever you may be and however you may be listening. Chicken Coop Racing here with the chicken and the checkered flag. Shirley Dawson cheering on Kensley Smith, while Julia, as always, cheering on Alex Teft in the 43. And Tony Rodriguez says putting time into practice is important, but more important is committing time to school first. I don't know if there's a subliminal message there for Diego.
Maybe.
But I wish I had somebody like Tony telling me that maybe I should spend less time out with the guys and more time studying when I was in high school. Thanks
Fair.
for that. I don't have to see Honey Buns in the live chat. I can just look over here to the left.
Lap 25, and right now we're watching Lee Campbell going to work on William Skinner in that number 8 Budweiser car.
I'll tell you what, sometimes we look here at these races and we start to see some things really spread out wide, but it seems to me that the back of this race is just as exciting as watching the leaders. I mean, Harrisburg's Rob Yost and Troy Thomas here in the 3 car, they've been going at it like a cat and a dog in a wet paper bag. I mean, sometimes I think we underestimate the excitement that can be deep in a field or mid-pack, because we're always concentrating on, John Ross. By the way, folks, just in case you wanted to know, John Ross has nearly a 2-second lead over Diego Rodriguez. Heck of a battle there. But the interesting thing is, right now, the real battle is for second position as we see Diego Rodriguez holding off Zach Lockett right now in the 93 as the GOAT Chevrolet Camaro starts to stalk Diego. And it's almost like, those signs that say driver does not carry cash.
I do.
I feel like as a Domino's driver that it's almost like Zach is hunting him down, looking for his cash, trying to knock him over in the car.
Yeah, as you always say, Zach Lockett is strapping on the proverbial hairnet, getting ready to serve Diego lunch.
I mean, he really is. And the question becomes now, with 28 laps in the books, 5 sets of tires, when do you want to come down? I mean, right now, there's honestly no reason. I don't see anybody with a crazy fall off overall. I mean, right now, fast time for Kirby Wainscott. He runs in 19th position. And, okay, sorry, now 18th position. Thanks, Kirby. Oh, and just as I say that, Rob Yost looks like he's going to be the first to come down pit road. You know what? Why do I even try to sound like I know what I'm talking about?
They zig and we zag.
It really is what happens. But I'm looking at fast times right now for Kirby Wainscott. He was just in 19th. He's now in 18th after Rob Yost comes down pit road. He's going to get service. But less than a full second of fall off for Wainscott, and he's the last driver in line. Now we look up here to John Ross. John Ross at a 29.75 for his best time. He's actually got more fall off than Kirby Wainscott, and Wainscott just a little bit off of his pace from that last lap. So some interesting numbers to keep an eye on here as Rob Yost becomes our first driver to, never mind, he didn't want to come down pit road for service. He wanted to get out of the car. Something wrong with Rob Yost. In fact, Alan, you may want to go down there and follow up on that in just a few moments.
10-4 is he's going to win the race to the beer stand.
"31 laps in the books, folks, as John Ross leads the way now, 2.3 seconds ahead of Diego Rodriguez, who is now gapping Zach Lockett by about 4/10 of a second. Just a moment ago, they were less than 2/10 of a second. And now, side-by-side, door handle to door handle, is Bill Skinner and the 15 of Kensley Smith. My God, you couldn't fit a paper between the two of these drivers as they drag race down through the quad oval and into turn 1. All of a sudden, the 8 gets a little bit of a run over the 15. Alan, I know you just popped back in here after doing the pit road cycle, but there's something special about seeing the 8 and the 15 like this. Oh my God, I think it's that time of night. This is the witching hour. Look at this. Dale Jr., Michael Waltrip. Oh.
Yeah, word from pit road in the Yost Racing camp is Rob Yost had the flu, so he's going to go and have his fine meter pegged and park it for the night.
Oh, that's got to be awful. There is something going around, though. I've been dealing with some gastric distress. Maybe a hot toddy isn't exactly the cure for it, but why not?
Well, I tell you what is the cure, and that is Kensley Smith finally getting around, or trying to work his way around William Skinner in that number 8 car.
Yeah, drivers starting to fall off a little bit here. And again, I'm starting to get curious when we're going to see these guys come in. So for the time being, we're going to leave things the way they are. We want to thank everybody for tuning in. I'm Dave Regal. He's Alan Bergen, and this is Sim Racing Media. We'll be right back, but don't go away. We'll be NASCAR side by side right here on Sim Racing Media.
Basket can't defend. He's got the outside line for the second part, and he can't hold on.
Going the long way around. We're going to be 3 wide for the lead as they all come to the line. Who is going to take it in the end?
And here comes Lockwood. He's going to make the move to the outside. Quinn tries to force him off a little bit, but there he goes. It's going to be side by side through turn 1.
Will he be able to cover him off? He does. Weaving back to the left-hand side. Reynolds is trying everything. The kitchen sink is being thrown at it.
They're leaning on each other. Coming into turn number 3. It's going to be a drag race through 3 and 4. Coming back to the line. Here comes Frisch on the bottom.
Richard's going to hold the inside. Tries to be the late breaker here. They're going to be side by side through the final chicane. They bang doors, but keep it clean.
As they're still 4 wide on the run down in the back straightaway. Demerit's looking for a line as well. What is going on in Michigan?
No back into the fence. They're still beating and banging.
Oh,
and to the line.
He is much faster coming through there. Is there damage on Challenger? Abramitis is ahead. There's going to be a race to the line. Who is going to get it?
All right, back to the old day.
Welcome back to Texas Motor Speedway, where we wait for the feed to come back up. There it is, as green flag pit stops are underway. Already tonight, it has been an exciting night of racing. Dave Regal and Alan Bergen with you here in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth. 41 laps in the books. This is just downright proof as John Ross is going to come in. He's going to get 4 tires in a tank of Go Fast. William Skinner going to stay out on track. And I would have bet my next paycheck on this. Andrew Teft staying out on track. Alan, here's the question, because this is almost becoming one of my favorite things to watch during these cup races. How long does Andrew Teft stay out on track? Never mind, just kidding, he's down.
Remember that part where we said when they zig, we zag?
Every time you think you figured it out.
We just stopped trying. Truth Hope could have come down pit road and surrendered that 3.5 second lead to Brandon Honeycutt, who has already been on pit road for his services. Well, I'm just kidding.
Nope, he's coming down now. Alex Teft and Troy Thomas stay out. Looks like it's going to be Alex Teft, Troy Thomas, and Kirby Wainscott staying out on track. Obviously, if you're coming in here on lap 41 through, 39, 40, 41, 43, you know that you're going to have to make 3 stops here. So you squeeze this first one out. Maybe you short the next one and then stretch the third one.
I don't think I take tires here, though. I think I just gas it and go. There's only 44 laps on the tires.
Did you not notice, though, that everybody took tires? This is why after they polled everybody, they were fine with you being up in the booth tonight.
Well, I just didn't want to get any text messages from Dave.
That's fine. Now I'll talk smack right to you. Folks, we like to make sure that you get the genuine article when you're listening to your broadcasters here on Sim Racing Media. As the 43 of Alex Teft comes down pit road, let's go on board with him. As the Hope Valley, Rhode Island native and brother of Andrew Teft comes on down past the Sunoco Racing Fuel canopy over here. Of course, Sunoco proud to be the race fuel of NASCAR. As Alex Teft comes in, he's going to pull it here pit side. Drop the right side, pop the left. So it's going to be 4 tires in a tank of Go Fast for Alex Teft as he now rolls off of pit road. 1 driver left out here, and that's Kirby Wainscott, and he's in pit road now. That'll cycle John Ross up here with a 2.6 second lead over Zach Lockett. Back to your race lead in just a moment. And it's going to be John Ross, Zach Lockett, Diego Rodriguez, Kensley Smith, Dennis Kane. That's going to be your top 5. And out of that top 5, you have to understand that, I mean, quite frankly, as everybody shuffles around, only 2 drivers out of the top 5 are non-playoff drivers. And we see a lot of non-playoff drivers pretty high in tonight's field. These drivers, and you know, Alan, you and I have talked about this many times, both on and off the air. You know, just because you're not a playoff driver doesn't mean that you shouldn't be out here, you know, beating your brains in trying to get it done.
You're exactly right. You know, and just to report back, I went down and got in the Outsiders chat, and well, right now the best running Outsiders driver is Diego Rodriguez, with Kane slowly knocking on with Truth Hope slowly knocking on the top 5. But right now, I want to point out that Troy Thomas is running 17th. He says he's not having the night that he hoped to, and he's looking to turn it around before the end of the night. He's going to keep pushing the pedal on the right, and hopefully it all works out for him in the end.
Yeah, you know what? It's always rough. Now, folks, you have to keep in mind that this is a fixed setup league, and what that means is that everybody's chassis is set up exactly the same. There's only a couple of things that you can adjust, and what that really is just your steering ratio, and at this point, it's a rack and pinion steering box. So that's even more different here in the next gen cars, and of course your brake bias, which determines how much brake pressure is going to go to the front and the rear of the car. Everything else, though, is totally set exactly the same. So that puts a lot of the onus on these drivers and their skill levels to be able to be successful. And John Ross tonight has led basically every lap outside of the pit window, or pit stop window, that is. And he and Zach Lockett lead the way right now. But Diego Rodriguez starting to chase down Zach Lockett again here as the 20 and the 93 ready to lock horns.
Yeah, exactly. And Diego Rodriguez battling it out with Zach Lockett, who we haven't seen in this league for a minute, but here he is. It's like he never missed a step.
And you know what? Sometimes I think that's what separates the men from the men and the boys. I mean, when you're somebody who's not scared to go out there and make the challenge. Here's Lockett literally sandwiched between 2 playoff drivers. I mean, that's when you really have to be able to separate yourself from the rest of the field to determine whether or not you're the cream that's going to rise to the top.
Yeah, tomorrow night, I just want to point out, tomorrow night, you can check out the Racers Elite Super Speedway Series with myself and Shane Lake as we bring you all the action with the Racers Elite Super Speedway Series. And then Saturday, Dave, I know you're going to want to tune into this one, but it's the Snowball Derby, the Racers Elite rendition of the Snowball Derby. And well, guess what? I got my snowplow on. I got it hooked up. On the,
how I feel about a good snowplow or snowball derby. Looks like Thursday Night Football just kicking off over on Prime Video. Just checking in over there. You know what? And I know that this isn't part of the race, but while things have kind of calmed down, of course, now as I say that, I'm watching things heat up here between Richard Ode and Lee Campbell. But, I am really happy for Jared Goff and the success that he has had in Detroit.
Oh, absolutely. As it looks like
success, Aaron Marquis starting to draft up to the rear of the 13 of Brandon Honeycutt. And Honeycutt with a connection issue, this could be a problem, especially, let's take a look and see what Marquis can see. Oh, and just kidding. Marquis gets around Honeycutt, so Honeycutt may have decided it was in his and Marquis' best interest for him to get out of the way. Those connection issues can, wreak havoc on a racetrack.
Exactly. Especially when you got to play guess where the driver is. As right now, Aaron Marquis doing the Andy Snake coming down that back straightaway in the DeWalt Tools number 41. And right now, Brandon Wilcox getting ready to work his way around Brandon Honeycutt in that number 13 car. Aaron Marquis still about a half lane up off the white line, just as we mentioned earlier in the broadcast. I want to thank everybody for joining us here in the YouTube.com live chat. Once again, Chicken Coop Racing. The chicken and the checker flag. What came first, the chicken or the checker flag? We don't know, but nonetheless, Kinsley Smith being cheered on by Shirley Dawson Julia, cheering on Alex Steph, Tony Rodriguez putting time in to practice and putting more time into schoolwork. Practice is important, but more important is committing the time to school first. Heather H. rooting on Diego Rodriguez.
Gonna peek in up here at Dennis Kane, who all of a sudden is battling it out with Truth Hoke. Watch the 4 and the 55. The double nickel Red Wrangler machine holding off Kane. And, you know, again, 2 playoff drivers out here fighting for their lives. They've got to be able to get to John Ross. And the question becomes, Alan, and maybe this is something you can answer as a driver, because I certainly am not anymore. But would you rather work with somebody and try to get up to John Ross, or would you rather fight like a couple of kids in the back of the school bus?
Well, you definitely want, it's easier to work with someone than it is to battle them out, because the more you battle the driver you're battling instead of working with them, the further out that, you know, Kinsley Smith, Diego Rodriguez, Zach Lockett, and even John Ross are going to get out further ahead. So, and not only that, but you're going to drive the wheels off your race car and wear down those tires even faster, trying to get around, you know. And in Dennis Kane's case here, Truth Hoke.
Well, here we are on lap number 60 of 105, so it's going to be 45 to go this time at the line, and John Ross has been the story of this race so far as he leads Zach Lockett and Diego Rodriguez. And as I had mentioned earlier, I mean, a lot of these drivers, you know, have successful careers in this league, but right now nobody is greater than John Ross. I mean, you know, the only races that he hasn't won this season, and this to me is just impressive. Auto Club, Vegas, and Talladega. That's it.
Boy.
Yep. Everything else he's picked up the dub. Kentucky, Phoenix, Homestead, Charlotte, and Kansas. Now, the interesting thing to think about is that when you look at some of these racetracks, you know, your Kentuckys, your Auto Club, you know, Phoenix, and especially Homestead and Charlotte on the oval. Oh, but this one we were at the Roval. You know, a lot of them aren't dissimilar from Texas.
So what would his percentage be if you were doing a batting average?
Simply put, he'd have like a .630 batting average.
He'd be the highest free agent in Major League Baseball.
115 days to opening day.
Oh boy!
But who's
I
counting?
cannot wait.
Hey, you know, this year for, you know, as you know, every year I take a hiatus and go to spring training. And this year, spring training is going to coincide with the SRM Miami trip. So strap on a helmet. It's going to be a long week.
Oh boy! Right. Well, I tell you what. Right now, John Ross is going to make it a long week for that number 42 car of Rob Koblenz. Or Leroy Koblenz. I don't know why I called him Rob. But Leroy Koblenz. Here he goes underneath him to put Koblenz a lap down. And door bumper clear. Here we go.
I mean, you know, as he sits right now, he looks out here. That's just downright scary.
Well, I tell you what, if you're Curtis Ecker, Brandon Honeycutt is one driver you do not want to see in your mirror, because he will wear you down to almost nothing before he passes you.
You know, and we've had the opportunity as Brandon Honeycutt starts to get even closer, and here he comes, shooting to the inside of Curtis Ecker now. He looks to the low side, the Jack Daniels and Cola number 19 Chevrolet Camaro trying to hold off the number 13 Toyota Camry. A couple of beverages here, one end of the spectrum to the other, Jack Daniels and Cola and Dr. Enough. Uh-oh, the 13 having another connection problem. Oh dear, we're not getting any better there. Let's go on board here as we hit Brendan Wilcox's nose. Let's see if we can watch this battle from just behind. Here's the Dr. Enough Toyota Camry. I remember looking up Dr. Enough. Oh, and there he goes again. See, folks, that can be very disconcerting as you're the race car just behind him. And, you know, there he is flashing out, blinking, if you will. And, you know, as the car disappears, you don't know where he's going to reappear. I mean, fortunately, Honeycutt, not one of those drivers to make some egregious moves, but he's disappearing right now in front of Wilcox in the 26, and now goes side by side with the 19.
The best thing for Brandon Honeycutt is to communicate with the drivers around him. Where are we at? I'm down low, I'm up high. And that's the best way that he can do, is to just communicate that.
And now the 13 of Brandon Honeycutt takes away 11th position from Curtis Ecker, as Brendan Wilcox has... As we're drag racing down the back chute, here comes Curtis Ecker. Oh, giving the bump now to the 13. He's not happy that the 13 took away 12th position from him, as Brendan Wilcox has managed to get away from the two of them. In comes the 43 of Alex Teft as we work lap number 71 here at Texas Motor Speedway.
Yeah, here comes Alex Teft. Looking to the outside of Curtis Ecker. Thinks he has it, not for a moment. Here comes Alex Teft, still trying to catch up. Maybe he's starting to draft up here as he's going to try to work to the inside. Take that Toyota Camry down to the inside and see if he can't get around Curtis Ecker that way. So we're working lap 72.
Just over 30 to go here at Texas Motor Speedway, and this is suddenly one of the best battles on the racetrack. Everybody else, as we watch timing and scoring, times are starting to go white and orange and yellow. But right now, this is the red section of the racetrack, a four-way battle now for 10th, 11th, and 12th. And looking on from behind is Curtis Ecker, and it's almost like something happened with Ecker, and he kind of fell off here. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. I want to thank everybody for tuning into the YouTube.com live feed, as Jesse Fox saying, "Go Hoke," and Heather checking in saying, "Let's go number 20," cheering on, of course, Diego Rodriguez. We'll see where Diego is right now. In fact, here's Truth Hoke in the 55. The interesting thing that I'm looking at right now is that John Ross, Zach Lockett, Diego Rodriguez, and Kensley Smith, all four of those drivers are exactly where they qualified. Truth Hoke is the first driver to start moving upward in his line. He's +2 right now in timing and scoring. Big mover in the positive direction tonight is Alex Teft. He qualified 17th and runs in 10th.
Yeah, absolutely. Here comes Alex Teft. Alex Teft was on the podium when we were last here back in June 19th of 2024. Looking to get back there. Currently is running 9th.
And just as I had said a little while ago, they're going to short pit this second stop. We may see one more pit stop. There's about 30 laps to go now, this time by. John Ross still leads this piece in the sim motion number 44, as Kensley Smith and Richard Ode are down pit road. Ode is down for quite some time now. 14 seconds for his pit stop. Kensley Smith off. And here comes race leader John Ross on lap number 76.
Here comes the race leader, going to turn that race lead. These are the only times that John Ross has not led this race, is coming down for green flag pit stops. And I don't want to jinx this, I don't want to say it too soon, but that one, our favorite flag is not flown at all tonight.
Don't say it, don't even think about it, pretend it doesn't even exist. What are you drinking there, buddy? You got the old Pure Life green tea there? The Gold Peak something or other.
Sweet tea.
I want to thank the fine people at Circle at the Homestead Miami race. They were handing these bottles out, the Circle water bottles. It's like a $20 water bottle with a thing in it that looks like a thing that's got some stuff in it to make it taste good. That's very descriptive, I know.
So right now, what's tasting good is Zach Lockett leading this race, and he's getting ready to come down pit road, so that way that number 93 Chevrolet Camaro ZL1 can get some tasty go fast and some fresh feel goods.
Yeah, here comes Lockett down pit road. That's going to leave the 8 car of William Skinner. Skinner! Out here in the race lead. He's going to be followed by Brandon Honeycutt, who's still duking it out with Brendan Wilcox. These two tonight,
Brandon Honeycutt.
Remember how you flirted with saying the word about the thing that we don't want to see?
I didn't say it, though.
I know you didn't say it, but I'm just saying that they just said we can do this if you'd like. But so far tonight, one heck of a race here from Texas Motor Speedway just outside of Fort Worth. And now looking to the left rear quarter panel of the 26 is the 13 of Brandon Honeycutt. We work lap number 80. It's going to be 25 to go this time at the line. Green flag pit stops are underway. When we come back, we should see the finale of our race here tonight at Texas Motor Speedway. I'm Dave Regal. He is Alan Bergen, and this is the Racers Elite Cup Series.
Basket can't defend. He's got the outside line for the second part, and he can't hold on.
Going the long way around. We're going to be 3 wide for the lead as they all come to the line. Who is going to take it in the end?
And here comes Lockwood. He's going to make the move to the outside. Quinn tries to force him off a little bit, but there he goes. It's going to be side by side through turn 1.
Will he be able to cover him off? He does. Weaving back to the left-hand side. Reynolds is trying everything. The kitchen sink is being thrown at it.
They're leaning on each other. Coming into turn number 3. It's going to be a drag race through 3 and 4. Coming back to the line. Here comes Frisch on the bottom.
Bouchard's going to hold the inside, tries to be the late breaker here. They're going to be side by side through the final chicane. They bang doors, but keep it clean.
As they're still 4 wide on the run down into the back straightaway. Demerit's looking for a line as well. What is going on in Michigan?
Novak into the fence. They're still beating and banging.
Oh
and to the line.
He is much faster coming through there. Is there damage on Challenger? Abramitis is ahead. There's going to be a race to the line. Who is going to get it?
Welcome back to Texas Motor Speedway, where we've reached the 20 to go mark as Alex Teft has stayed out longer than anybody. See, earlier I thought it was going to be Andrew Teft, and now tonight it's Alex Teft who stays out longer than anybody, ahead of John Ross for the time being. We know that he can't make the end of this race on the tank of fuel that he had from back on lap number 44, as the rest of the field came in everywhere from lap number 74 through 83. And now coming in again is Curtis Ecker. But Dave Regal and Alan Bergen with you here in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth. I want to thank everybody for tuning in to the YouTube.com live feed, as we thank you for welcoming us into your homes and onto your phones. And here comes Alex Teft. That will cede the lead back to John Ross.
And John Ross, coming off of turn number 4, will assume the race lead this time by 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and he's got the lead. Kinsley Smith closing that gap also, as he's going to be 6 seconds ahead or behind John Ross. Diego Rodriguez 7 seconds. Now Truth Hoke knocking on the door of that podium. He's trying to make something happen here, as he's 2 seconds behind Diego Rodriguez. Alex Teft would have liked to finish 2 spots better than he did last time we were here back on June 27th. Troy Thomas finds himself 1 lap down, back in that 15th position. And we are under caution for the first time tonight. Yay. And we will get that replay as Alex Teft showing crashed on the live timing and scoring. Right now, Rob Yost Jr. putting it on the hauler, winning the race at the beer stand. Richard Odie, he is going to had his fun meter pegged out for the evening. Curtis Ecker currently sits 17th. He's on pit road right now. Wonder how many drivers hit the abort button when they came down pit road. We're going to find out as we got 16 laps to go. And the action has slowed down on the speedway, as you can send all of your hate mail to Dave Regal at simracingmedia.com.
Let's see what brought this out here, as Alex Teft was coming off of pit road. Oh!
Looks like a hardware failure.
We're going to take a look and see. Here he comes. Nope. The rear end just stepped out on him with cold tires.
Well, that was one car that did some two-stepping.
Now, the interesting thing to note here is that they do have a fast repair in this league. So, in theory, Teft could get himself back to pit road, hit the fast repair, get himself all cleaned up, dusted off. Now, he wouldn't be the lucky dog, but it's entirely possible as he's going to line up next to Koblenz that he could be the lucky dog should another one of these incidents happen.
Yeah, don't count Andrew or don't count Alex out just yet. And you know, I mean, 15 laps to go. Cautions can bring cautions, and you know, right now, Alex Steps is 1 lap down. So I mean, he could very well get that lucky dog. And you might actually get that lap back now as a free pass car.
I mean, in all honesty, I'm not mad at it. You just went 90 laps with no cautions, and, you know, one person gets bit by the cold tire bug. Stuff happens. And actually, yeah, he is going to get the free pass. So he and Koblenz will go back to the lead lap. As Ecker is down on pit road, looks like Ode and Yost, the only 2 drivers to have hung it up tonight.
Yeah, both their fun meters have been pegged. Rob Yost, we're hoping that he gets a speedy recovery. He's been bitten by the flu bug, and you know Richard Odie. Well, he's just had his fun meter pegged for the night.
The iRacing.com pace car bringing us down the backstretch here into turn number 3. This place is just downright enormous, Alan.
I mean, they say things are bigger in Texas, especially the giant screen on the back straightaway.
Well, and you know what? For anybody that's been to a mid-sized racetrack in the NASCAR circuit, sometimes it really stinks when you can't see the backstretch, and they pretty much fix that for you here at Texas.
No limit, no excuses.
As the pace car going to bring everybody out of turn number 4 here back onto the front stretch. We want to thank everybody for tuning in. And, of course, make sure that you hit that QR code in the upper right-hand corner of your screen and use the promo code Racers Elite over at GTR. The iRacing.com pace car lights go out, and looks like the 43 is going to go EOL. So he will not get his lap back.
He is charged with the caution.
Uh-oh.
And it's not uncommon, you know, Race Control does a very good job here with the Racers Elite series, and keeps these drivers in line and keeps us on our best behavior when we're out on the racetrack.
Well, you know, and I've said, you know, hundreds and hundreds of times here on the air, Race Control is probably the most thankless job in all of iRacing. And to be fair, NASCAR officials, the real NASCAR officials, the guys that are dressed like big white marshmallows, they're the ones that I think that they're probably the worst officials on earth just because of their attitude and their demeanor. You know, to me, you're watching a guy work on a car, the least you could do is say, "Can I hand you something?"
I don't think they're allowed to touch the car.
No, they're barely allowed to touch their own hips as the iRacing.com pace car dips on down pit road. And if I dip, you dip, we dip, John Ross dips his foot onto the throttle, and here we go. He's going to bring along Brandon Honeycutt, the only other driver in the league to bring home a checkered flag this season, as they're going to go 1-2 with Kensley Smith in tow for third. Brandon Honeycutt with connection issues once again. We go on board with Kensley Smith looking ahead to Brandon Honeycutt and John Ross as we are 12 laps to go, and there it is. Caution number 2 now being dispatched by Race Control.
I didn't think they got up through the gearbox.
Looks like Lee Campbell may have been involved in this one. Oh, my God.
Brakes.
I don't know how you could possibly feel comfortable like that. Let's take another look at this and see what happened. The 4 gets loose. That's Dennis Kane, and he collects at least 2 or 3 cars. And that's got to be disappointing for so many people.
here's the thing about these cars on corner exit. That car, when it comes off the banking and onto that straightaway, that car becomes so light. And then you got cold tires, it's like driving on ice.
And there go the cars skittering down the backstretch toward us here at turn number 3. And, of course, the 60 getting the worst of it as he has turned the wrong direction and just left to sit there helplessly on the backstretch. He'll have to gather himself up, but now 10 laps to go, and things have gotten a little tight. Maybe it's time to tighten up that bell buckle, if you will.
Curtis Acker going to have his fun meter pegged for the night. He's going to put it on the hauler and try again next week. As we got 2 races left here in the Racers Elite season, with Daytona being the finale.
You know what? And I think that that's something that that they've now done better here in this league than anywhere. And realistically, maybe real life NASCAR could, let's just say, take a lesson from them. You know, we've said for years that NASCAR is the only sport that starts their year with their Super Bowl, the Daytona 500. But you know, yes, the Super Bowl, at least for my money, should be the final race of a season. And all of a sudden, Racers Elite has decided to do it the right way and end the season at Daytona International Speedway, as next week we'll be at the Milwaukee Mile for 120 laps, and Daytona is going to be on December 19th for 80 laps. And Alan, you know how I feel about Daytona.
It holds a special place in your heart.
I mean, the place is just a cathedral of speed.
Call it the Vatican of NASCAR, if you will. Right now, these guys are going to get lined up 2 by 2 Noah's Ark style behind that iRacing.com pace car. As we're going to send them around one more time before we turn the lights out on the speedway. And I tell you what, Dave, this racetrack has the coolest yellow lights along the front stretches, as they are, you know, as they light up the fence posts.
Might soon be time for new headphones here in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth. Starting to get a little interference.
They could run on the same frequency as your internet.
No, they're connected through the microphone. You know what? Now that I'm sitting here thinking about this, everything here at the desk in the studio is from Miami. The Circle water bottle and our friends at NASCAR, and of course the white hat perched atop my skull here, also from the NASCAR experience. You know what, folks? If you ever get the chance, and for some people, you know, they watch NASCAR on TV and they never get a chance to go to a racetrack, do yourself a favor and go have that experience.
It is definitely an experience. Right now, the lights are out on the speedway and on the iRacing.com pace car. John Ross, Brandon Honeycutt will lead the field back to green as they head towards that Geico restart zone. We're going to have an 8-lap shootout once we go green. Here we go. Ross, Honeycutt on the front row through the Geico restart zone. We are down and away for hopefully will be the last time.
And off they go down toward turn number 1. We're watching all of these drivers get themselves dug in here. As speaking of dug in, here is the digger cam for the first time tonight. I know we've been neglected it to some degree. There's the 13 with yet a whoa!
And
the connection issue may have been the one. Caution number 3.
See what happened here. Kinsley Smith involved. Oh boy.
Kinsley Smith, maybe. Let's see if we can go up here to. Let's see if we can go up here to Kinsley Smith. Watch the 13 on the high side. Blink, blink, blink. That's weird.
Looks like Kinsley Smith got loose and Brendan Wilcox was there.
And Brandon Honeycutt just happened to scurry away.
Just like the squirrel that found the proverbial nut.
It's starting to make me wonder, how much does Brandon Honeycutt have left in the tank, and how hard does he want to fight John Ross?
Yeah, that's the question right now, and these guys have had a few very, very good battles here at the end as we're going to go what I like to call dash racing. When we come back to green, it's going to be right around 4 laps to go.
We're going to step aside one final time here tonight on Sim Racing Media. We want to thank all of you for tuning in and keeping us a part of your evening all season long here on iRacing.com. As without you folks at home, we'd have no one to talk to. So thank you for that as always, and we'll be right back on SRM.
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $400,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Welcome back to Texas Motor Speedway, where the iRacing.com pace car lights are out. We're going to be 4 laps to go after this third caution of the night. It's been a little caution littered so far. At the tail end of this race, from about 20 laps on, we've had caution every few laps. Dave Regal and Alan Bergen with you here in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth just outside the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. As John Ross going to lead us back to the green flag, he'll be followed by Brandon Honeycutt, Brendan Wilcox, Diego Rodriguez, and Bill Skinner in the number 8 Budweiser Chevrolet.
Here we go, getting ready to get cranked up to crazy. As we have Ross, Honeycutt on the front row. Diego Wilcox, do they have anything for John Ross? Does Diego Rodriguez get the start? We're going to find out about 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're back to green flag racing with 4 laps to go.
And here they are. John Ross gets a great restart over Brendan Wilcox and Brandon Honeycutt. Now, Honeycutt was battling a little bit of a connection issue earlier, and now he's going to have to go door handle to door handle with Diego Rodriguez. Rodriguez here in the Domino's Ford Mustang holds his own here on the left rear quarter panel of the 13, but don't count these guys out yet. Of course, as I say that, now the 13 disappears. He comes back. He disappears. He's like Ann Hesh. He's out. He's in. He doesn't know where he is.
3 laps to go. Truce Hoke looking underneath of... Oh, here comes Andrew Taft. He's going to give the bumper to Hoke. And Hoke's going to put it in the wall.
We stay green. We stay green. The 41 gives a love tap to Andrew Taft, who now runs in 6th position. Caution.
That's going to trigger some overtime.
Let's watch Dennis Kane and Zach Lau. Oh, the 55 bit the wall, and all kind of hell broke loose here. Let's watch the 55. There's the contact with the 98. The 50. Whoa. Oh.
I think...
Good Jesus.
I think Truth might need a good chiropractor.
A good chiropractor. Hey. He sees the wreck happening ahead of him, and there is just no place to go. We'll watch one more time here. And here's from the 55. There's the contact. Gets himself loosened up. Oh. I mean, that is just bang, bang. That's so fast. You know, there's no reaction time there for the 4.
And that will effectively end the night of Truth Oak, unless he can get it back to the pit area and get it fixed.
Well, what that's going to do here is it's going to trigger NASCAR overtime. Folks, what that means is that when the green flag flies, we'll have 2 laps to go. We will race around back to the white flag. If a caution should come out between the green flag and the white flag waving, we will rack them and stack them and do it all over again. However, once the white flag waves, the next flag will end the race, whether that flag is yellow or checkered. All that needs to happen is that we need to get to that white flag. So it's going to be all important for these drivers to mind their P's and Q's and get that one clean lap in, and then they can go at it like dogs.
There's going to be a lot of sorries after this race. Truth Oak's still on pit road. The lights should be going out next time by.
Barney's up here with the flag in the stand as the iRacing.com pace car crosses the start-finish line. It's going to be one more parade lap before we go 1 to go.
Boy. I mean, 3 laps to go. I think Brendan Wilcox is going to maybe have something for John Ross.
Folks, we want to welcome you in tonight. If you're just tuning in, I'm Dave Regal and he's Alan Bergen. You're watching the Racers Elite Next Gen Cup Series live on Sim Racing Media. Of course, we want to thank all of you for tuning in, welcoming us into your homes and onto your phones, wherever you may be and however you may be listening. Even if what you're listening to is just a few feet away, as Honeybuns has made her place there on the couch, so she no longer has to check in on the YouTube.com live chat. She can just wave from over there.
iRacing.com pace car lights should go out this time by. With 3 laps to go here, we're going to essentially trigger the overtime. Want to remind everybody to hit that QR code in the top right corner of your screen for the GTR. And I believe that is a sim rig. And also for the Moza Racing wheel, go ahead and click that, scan that QR code for all the great products that Moza has. And you know, it's Christmas time, so make sure you get your Moza order in, so that way you get it by Christmas and you're sim racing Christmas morning.
You know, and this is probably, and folks, I mean, you know, for those of us who have spent a lot of time on the iRacing.com servers, you bring up a really good point, Alan. In fact, something that hadn't even dawned on me as a non-driver at this point. Folks, if you are an existing iRacing account holder, do yourself a favor and stay as far away from the public servers as you possibly can after, you know, Christmas Day, because there are going to be all kinds of people who get sim rigs and maybe even the iRacing.com software subscription, you know, for Christmas and so on and so forth. But regardless, there's going to be a whole lot of new faces and folks on the iRacing.com servers, and they will surely ruin your Saturday afternoon or your Wednesday evening.
Here we go. 3 laps to go. iRacing.com pace car pulls off the racetrack, gives the field to John Ross and Brendan Wilcox. 3, 2, 1. We are back to racing here with 2 laps to go. And what a hole shot that John Ross just got on. Whoa. Easy there, big fella.
Watch him go. Here's Skinner in the 8 as he's going to hold the high line. I talked about it earlier. If you get too close to that low line, oh, you run the risk of getting loose coming out of 2 and down the back chute. Now Brendan Wilcox in the 26 hauls himself down to the inside line with John Ross leading the way out of turn number 4 back to the start-finish line. Barney grabs the white flag, and we're racing back to checkers.
Here comes William Skinner knocking on the door for that podium spot, the final spot on the podium. Does he? He's got it. Oh, these guys are battling it out hard. Lee Campbell puts it in the wall. Brandon Honeycutt and William Skinner drag racing. And I tell you what, Brandon Honeycutt's going to make William Skinner work for it. As John Ross cross the line first and pick up Texas. Brendan Wilcox finishes second, and rounding out your podium tonight will be the driver out of Elizabethton, Tennessee, and that is Brandon Honeycutt.
John Ross picks up another checkered flag on the season. He's followed by Brendan Wilcox and Brendan Honeycutt. Bill Skinner and Andrew Teft round out your top 5 as Diego Rodriguez, Aaron Marquis, Troy Thomas, Kirby Wainscott, and Leroy Koblenz make up your top 10. And, you know, there are times where I wish that we could talk to some of these guys who don't get on the podium, but time is short, and quite frankly, it's hard enough to track down 3 guys, much less 33 guys on a Wednesday.
As we're watching John Ross just burn it down.
John Ross celebrating here on the infield grass as he and Brandon Wilcox and Brandon Honeycutt celebrating right here on what is officially lap 110. Let's see if we can get these guys up here for a little chat. Honeycutt and Wilcox.
Get it. All right, boys, we're going to end the stream here. Let me do this interview real quick. Appreciate everybody jumping on. Next time we'll rate somebody. So we'll be back probably. When are we racing again? 2-3 days? A couple of days. So we'll be back with another stream. Okay, I'll be right back, Leroy.
John, I think.
Yes, sir. I'm sorry. I apologize.
Listen, you know, Alan and I are sitting here with our webcams on, and I'm just staring at him, and I'm thinking, do we talk?
Yeah,
I want to welcome in our race winner, John Ross. Of course, he's got more wins than everybody here in the Racers Elite Cup Series this season. And, John, how do you keep pulling this off this season?
You know, just really qualifying well. I believe we've had 6 or 7 poles this season as well. So I think just putting a lot of time in on qualifying and staying out of trouble and, you know, trying to run the first 5 to 10 laps pretty hard to keep the car out front. And then once I do that, it's just trying to set my pace and manage tires from there.
I mean, listen, you seem to be doing that better than just about anybody else. And quite frankly, better than anybody that I've seen on the servers this year. And it's been a long year as here we are in mid-December now. But, you know, as we climb deeper and deeper into the playoffs, just 2 weeks left, the Milwaukee Mile next week in Daytona. Obviously, it's not going to take you much to try to maintain this position, but it's your championship to lose. What do you have to do these next 2 weeks to protect what you have?
I think put some practice, especially at Milwaukee and this, you know, short tracks. Short tracks really are not my strength. So put in enough practice where I have a good finish there, and then you never really know what's going to happen at Daytona. So I think play smart. You know, we do have a fast repair in this league, so try to keep that in your pocket if anything were to happen, and you know, just be consistent and just try to stay up front and keep all 4 wheels on that thing all night long.
All right, my man. Well, listen, you are absolutely right. I mean, it's just been a great season so far. So congratulations once again here at Texas Motor Speedway. Before we cut you loose, who do you need to thank and who helped you get it done on the 44 tonight?
Yeah, I appreciate that. And first, I always want to thank you guys there in the booth. Certainly appreciate everything that you do. And I do enjoy going back and watching them. We want to thank everyone here at Racers Elite and Andrew for putting this league on and giving us somewhere to run. And then, of course, I want to thank my Sim Motion teammates, Leroy. And then we've got a new teammate, Zach Lockett, that's going to be joining us next season for a full season. So we're very excited about that. And and then to my sponsor, that's Sim Motion. So anything you need sim related, US Sim Motion, if you use code 802, that will get you 5% off. And we certainly appreciate that.
All right, my friend. Well, listen, congratulations once again, and we'll see you next week at the Milwaukee Mile.
I certainly appreciate it. Thank you both.
That, of course, the voice of our race winner, John Ross. And Alan, I believe you have with you now down on pit road, Brendan Wilcox, driver the number 26.
Brendan Wilcox, a half second away from crossing the line first, but nonetheless, take us through a little bit of that race and what more you needed out of the car to beat John Ross back to the line.
Yeah, I mean, the entire race, I was just really trying to nurse those tires, keep them in a good spot for the long run. It's a tricky track, 1 and 2. If you miss your mark just a little bit, it really can throw you off, and you can burn up a lot of tire that way. But we got that first caution, and we were able to gain a couple spots. I taken 2, and then we just kept having cautions, and then at the end there, yeah, obviously John's been super fast all season. I mean, he's sucks to race against, but fun to watch type of thing. But yeah, being second, he's leader on the restart. He'll get that jump. So tried everything to reach him, but I'll take a second place finish. Definitely something to be proud of for sure.
Exactly, and you couldn't have said it better. But here we are, getting close to the end of the series. We got 2 more weeks left here in the series. What's going to be the secret sauce that Brandon Wilcox is going to need to quite possibly dethrone John Ross from the championship?
I think Milwaukee is going to be the race, the really important one. Daytona and those super speedways are always a toss-up. Anything can happen. So I think having a strong showing at Milwaukee, I think, is going to be super important. So just getting time on the track, logging a lot of laps, I think is going to be really important.
All right, before we get you out of here, is there anybody you'd like to help get you here tonight?
Yeah, you guys for putting this on. Andrew for the league. Everyone at Racers Elite. And then my teammate Will, he had a really solid race tonight. Our team finished in top 5. So super proud of him and look forward to the next one.
All right, you have a good night, and we'll see you on the next one.
Thanks, guys.
Well, Alan, another one in the books here, and I don't understand where all of these graphics just showed up from. I didn't click any of that. I didn't ask for any of this. It's an interesting finish off for the evening. We want to take one final look at our race results from tonight. John Ross, Brendan Wilcox, and Brandon Honeycutt, they make up your podium, while William Skinner and Andrew Teft round out your top 5. Finishing in 6th is Diego Rodriguez and Aaron Marquis, with Troy Thomas, Colonel Kirby Wayne Scott, and Leroy Koblenz rounding out your top 5. Kensley Smith comes home in 11th with Lee Campbell in 12th, while Truth Hoke in the 55, they're going to roll it home in 13th. Dennis Kane finishes 14th with Zach Lockett in 15th. Alex Teft in 16th. Curtis Ecker in 17th. Richard Ode and, of course, my fellow Pennsylvanian Rob Yost are going to hold things down there in the final Pennsylvania spot for some Black Friday deals. But, folks, we want to thank all of you for tuning in with us, for not forgetting that we were here after last Thursday when nobody was around. Of course, as we were having a day of giving thanks. And speaking of which, we want to thank all of you for making us a part of your daily lives here on Sim Racing Media. So for myself, Dave Regal, and all of our team members and showmates and so on and so forth like that here at SRM, thanks for listening, and we will see you tomorrow. Good night, everybody.